find this, trying to say that probably they will understand and say, it's going to increase or reduce and that's it. But I think we need to work more in that part. Mm-hmm. That's something that I think still is missing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in our kind of, it's not, it's part of the research, but that is the process of the mobilizing knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what about in terms of, this is something that Anna has talked about, that sometimes when you're doing a project, part of the purpose of the project is to make people collaborate with each other or to, get people who wouldn't know each other to know each other. So she gave the example of when you publish a piece, sometimes you bring in, I think she gave the example of a piece where one minister from one agency was brought onto the project and another minister from another agency was brought onto the project, and then they know each other and they can collaborate in the future. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those kind of relationship building as a way of building capacity?
Absolutely. Nothing like face-to-face collaboration. Yeah, definitely. You can use a lot of technology, and actually technology helps, but it's very important, this kind of face-to-face interaction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the social interaction is also that make some collaboration successful. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, and we have been, here, even inside our university, people work in different niches, and time we cannot work together, everybody works separate, but that's the to bring people together, because it's not easy to put these people together. So I guess that's something that we have learned, and I know very well that when you have this personal contact, real interest in what the people is doing, so they will be more willing to help you and to get really into the process of this kind of collaboration and transfer of mobilization of the science.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I would love to know, and maybe there's a document you could send me, like I've seen the kinds of things that Anna's group produces in terms of the publications, right? I've seen like the papers that you've published, and I'm wondering how you go from a paper like that and to a policy brief. Like, what is the process of taking that first product? I assume it's first, maybe it's not first, but of a paper that you've published, and then how do you go through that data and decide what's included in the eventually what you're going to show to the government to impact policy?
That's not done yet. That's not done. That's exactly what I feel. That's the part that I need to work. I need to do that and try to put that in an easy policy frame, with some visibility. And that's, we have the resource to try to, prepare this kind of information. But still we need to work more. I did something, but still I don't think that's the level of impact that we want. Definitely have to be some easy policy read that have been reached to the authorities to send it, and also to publish openly to the media, to visualize everywhere where are the most important, facts and evidence and barriers are also points and opportunities that we have in this kind of integration of science with the work of the practitioner. So I guess that's a task that is due, and it's a task that I feel, So I feel like it's also, I feel really that it's part of my responsibility to try to lead something like that. And hopefully next year I will do that. As I told you before, to me it's very difficult to write for different reasons. Because, I start later on my life. It's not, something like that all the time. And I can articulate it sometimes well, but when I sit on the front of the computer, it's more complicated, but I need to work in that.
Some people are the in-person communicators, and some people are the distance written communicators, yeah.
And that part that to work, to present it in a public forum, I believe I'm kind of good at that. Mm-hmm. So people usually call me to go many times to Quito. That's, it's like at a high level area, and I am accepting a lot of that invitations. Sometimes I have to decline because my time is not, no, I'm not available anymore. But that's kind of thing that the people call me because, there is a forum of climate and health to present that. It's telling me that the people is looking at our work because it's not my work. It's a group of work. I always say like that. But my role sometimes is this kind of communicator of science because I'm working with Anna. Anna is not here. A lot of people that work in that doesn't speak Spanish. So all the things maybe kind of responsible that need to transfer in some way and in easy way that information to do, to put it in the practitioner's side.
So I also have some questions I wanted to ask you. I want to be respectful of your time. So if you have to go, just let me know. I'm going to let you go after. Is an hour okay for us to talk? So 30 more minutes?
Yes, a little bit more because I also, I have to travel to Mexico.
Oh my gosh!
I need to prepare. No, not today, but I have to prepare some presentation for Mexico. But let me see. Give me. I will do it right now. Otherwise, I can't forget. Your email. What is your email?
I'll send you an email right now so you have it. RRHENDERSON.
I have problem with the spelling, so if you can send me maybe in the
I'm
Skype,
sending you an email, and then you can just reply to it. So I had some questions that I wanted to ask you that were kind of, so we talked a lot about the policy side, but I also wanted to ask you some questions as a scientist, kind of like what you think about the purpose of your work as a scientist. But if you have to go to Mexico and you want to get ready for that, we can save that for another time, and I'll take a look at this presentation, and then we can have another call once you're back from Mexico to ask some more questions, if that's okay with you.
Yes, it just probably you can send me the question and probably we can. Yes, I believe. Yeah, we can talk about, but let me know. Let me hear what is the question of.
Yeah, so it's more kind of about how you imagine your work as a scientist in terms of what you produce and what you think that. So, like for instance, I was interested in kind of asking you about when you first started doing this work, what you imagined the impact of your work would be, like when you think about it at a very high level, like the reason that I do this, the reason that it's important, and then and let you talk a little bit about like what you think the importance of the science that you do is, and then we can kind of talk through what keeps that from being realized, to identify the real barriers, if it's more of a communication barrier, more of a structural barrier. But that's a long conversation, and I know that you're busy, and it's Saturday, so I don't want to. If we can put that conversation off to another time, if you prefer.
Yeah, that's. But just one is probably. I think this was a very important part of my life that really, moved to this area. When I was working at the municipio de Guayaquil, I was the chief control of environmental control of the city. So a lot of women come to my office to say, we have problems with our children because of air pollution from the power plant. Mm-hmm. So, I was looking at systems, water discharge, emission, but I never pay attention to the people until these people, and these women, these mothers or grandmothers come to me very frequently. So I feel compelling about that. They say, oh my gosh, I have to do something. Mm-hmm. I cannot be here sitting every single day and say, I have to do something. And the thing that I didn't know to do was to write proposals, to write, research project. So that's I did. And that was, I think, my first project. It was 2004, more or less. No. Yeah, it was 2004. Yeah, and then I wrote this proposal to the IDRC from Canada, and I got the proposal, was successful. One of 4 proposals in South America. So it was very interesting because at that time I started in this vision of environment, social, and policy and health. So from that, definitely I cannot leave it anymore. So to me, if you are doing science, if you are not making from the benefit of somebody and